Kevin Sorbo, man, we are super excited that you are on with us. We're longtime fans of many films over the years and of your career, so it's awesome to have you here. I want to ask one thing. I'm a parent of three. Is it you also have three kids, right?
I have three kids, yes, three teenagers.
Okay, I want to know because, we both work in radio. Aaron works in TV and that sort of thing. It's a different dynamic with family, I think, sometimes. Do your kids ever watch your movies and stuff and not give you the reaction you want? Like, it's dad.
I don't think any of them have seen an episode of Andromeda yet. And that was 5 years of a Gene Roddenberry show. I mean, I'm the first Captain Hunt after Captain Kirk that was ever created by Gene Roddenberry. So I'm like going, guys. But my oldest son, we got Jim at the house. And so about 3 years ago, he would go in there and work out an hour and a half every day, and he'd watch 2 episodes of Hercules. So he went through all 7 seasons of the series, and he said he really enjoyed it. He wouldn't have kept watching. He really thought it was a lot of fun, which it was.
Yeah.
I hope they get to Andromeda eventually, but I think the kids have all seen the other 2. They've probably seen 10 episodes of Hercules, but the movies, they're a little more, I think, receptive to those.
Yeah.
I mean, is it because they would go on a big screen? Is it because they go to a big screen is why they're more receptive to it?
For some of them, but some of them are like on Hallmark or Lifetime or something like that. But I've shot 64 movies now, and there's probably a dozen I wish I didn't do. But, you don't go on thinking they're going to suck, but that does happen at times.
Well, I was going to say, are there any movies that you've gone out of your way to just go and not let them know about?
Yeah, there's one. There's a couple, actually, but there's I would say about 5 or 6 that I did because a friend was directing or producing, and they say, hey, well, I need you 2 days. And, you look at the part and go, it's all right. And then you look at the movie and go, oh my God, what did I get myself into, But those things happen. I mean, I was flipping channel. Like even now with all this COVID stuff, people are looking for stuff to watch. I see a lot of movie with these big name stars that never went to theaters because they sucked. They went straight to DVD or streaming or something. So
yeah, I have found myself watching more of those movies than I ever thought I would, right?
Yeah.
And you keep popping up in those, so thank you.
Thanks.
Actually, I want to bring this up real quick. You brought up Andromeda. Now, that's a show that my dad and I, and my twin brother, we made it a point to sit down and watch Andromeda every weekend night.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Is there going to be, are we going to bring that back? I mean, every show gets brought back.
Here's the weird thing that happened. We were the number one. I mean, when Hercules in its 7-year run, we were the number one show in first-run syndication. We passed Baywatch by our 3rd year as the most watched TV show in the world, 176 countries. It's still in like 50 countries around the world. And then I went right into Andromeda right after that, and that picked up right where Hercules left off, being the number one first-run syndicated show in America. Well, at the end of season 5, they kind of rushed through it because the Tribune company that owned it out of Chicago went into bankruptcy. Because at that time they owned the Cubs. The Cubs sucked, so that was driving them, running dry. I think a lot of the radio stations weren't doing too good. The super stations like KTLA 5 and WGN and WPIX were doing well, but they went into bankruptcy. They had to freeze all their assets, and we were doing great for them. We were the number one show for them, and 6 years of lawyers and collusion. It takes 6 years to figure out this bankruptcy. God, it's just. If lawyers are watching out this, I'm sorry, but you guys suck. I was hoping they'd bring it back eventually, but then, Sci-Fi Channel was going to buy us because they bought us for reruns. Yeah. But our 5th year was their first year of Battlestar Galactica. So they're throwing all their money at that because that was their original programming.
Well, so I'm looking for the reboot, at least something. Give me something.
I mean, there's room for that. I mean, it's the first. Here's the weird thing. I think if they would have put Star Trek, Andromeda, it'd come back.
Yeah.
Here is the first show ever created after Star Trek by Gene Roddenberry. But because they didn't have the Star Trek name attached to it, like Voyager and Deep Space Nine or something like that, I don't think it got, I feel like I'm the stepchild thrown in the attic or something, because it's a good show.
You're in a different universe.
And I enjoyed the show. I enjoyed filming up in Vancouver. We had a blast.
So what does it look like these days? Now, speaking of filming, we've got, a couple of films we'll talk about coming out, but in 2020? Like, what does that look like in your world, in the Hollywood or the film world?
Well, you know, fear is an amazing weapon, and they're using the COVID thing right now to control all our lives in so many different ways. I think it's insane what's going on. Number one, I don't think you should quarantine healthy people. I mean, I totally get that it's contagious. So is the flu. I look at the CDC, the Center for Disease Control. I look at the World Health Organization. If you go online and look at that, they're saying the masks are pretty useless. That this virus is 75% smaller than the flu virus, and the flu virus goes right through the mask. It's weird, you know. It's like you go to the grocery store. It's like Zombieland meets Walking Dead or something. It's just weird. Nobody wants to look at each other.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, this fear thing is crazy, and it's going to spill over to next year as well. They're going to keep it going. And I mean, I'm not crying me a river, but I lost 2 movies this year that were funded, ready to go. But the funders, everybody freaked out, pulled out their money. I do a lot of speaking events. I do Comic-Con shows because of Hercules and Andromeda. So I lost, between speaking events and Comic-Cons, probably about 16 different events were canceled for me.
Wow.
And this, I mean, this affects everyone. I get it. Like I said, I'm not going, oh, poor me. It just sucks for everyone.
Well,
And but out of the blue, I was part of a pilot that I produced 2 years ago. And we got a call this past summer, and they flew me back to LA, and we did 8 episodes of this sitcom. It's called The Potwins. So it's sort of like a Last Man Standing type of sitcom, Tim Allen show. So we'll see what happens when they air it next year, if they get a pickup on it or not. But I just got my next movie funded, and I'll be directing that hopefully in February, and either in Georgia or Alabama. There's strict rules. I mean, on the Potwins filming in LA, we had to do 3 COVID tests a week on both sides of the camera.
Wow.
So, you know, we got another movie that I'm going to be shooting soon. They're already filming it right now. Ronald, it's the Reagan movie, and Dennis Quaid's playing Reagan, and I'm playing his pastor. They've already shot about 70% of it, so I'm going in before the year's out here to shoot my bit. So, knock on wood, you know, we're still kind of cruising along, but it's held back a lot in production. There's no question.
It seems like, though, you've actually gotten a lot more of jobs of late, more casting jobs. Is that true?
What do you mean? More for me?
Yeah, more for you. I feel like you've been picked up ever since, I would say, God's Not Dead movie. All of a sudden,
Yeah.
You've been picking up.
I've been doing it
right.
pretty much on my own. My manager and agent, we parted ways a long time ago, and I formed my own production company, the Sorbo Family Film Studio. I either produce, direct, or act, or a combination of all those things in all the movies. Since, I mean, God's Not Dead, we did Abel's Field. We did Let There Be Light. We did my latest one, A Miracle in East Texas. There's a bunch of other ones in between all that. I've got one coming out the end of this month, November 27th. It's called Faith Under Fire. It's myself with Dean Cain in it. It's going to be in theaters the 29th through, I can't remember how many. I think they got a week for screening on it. You know, the independent movies, it's difficult to always get them out in theaters compared to the big budget movies. And there's not that many out there. Theaters out there right now anyway. So
let me ask you, what is that like getting in the room when there's Hercules and Superman at the same time?
Well, I've known Dean a long time. I actually booked that role first. Dean Cain and I were down the last 2 guys. We did a screen test with Terry Hatcher, and I got a call that night and from the studio at Warner Brothers and said, "You got the role." And less than a day later, they called up and said, "Oh, we're gonna go with Dean Cain now." Welcome to the frustrations, the highs and the lows, the roller coaster rides that actors got to go through. But I always give Dean a hard time because I got Hercules 3 months later. My show on 7 years became the most watched show in the world, and he got canceled after 3 seasons. So it's all good. Dean's a great guy. We're trying to raise money right now in a really, really good movie called The Carpool Lane. And he plays a high-powered lawyer that is living in L.A. I'm a bum at the side of the street, and he says, "Get in the car," and he gives me a $100 bill. He says, "Get in the car, get a $100 bill so we can use the carpool lane." And then things happen and progress as it goes along. So we're hoping to get that funded pretty soon.
That sounds like a great story.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool script.
So we're looking forward. So that's Faith Under Fire coming out towards the end of the month. But you also have this other one, Against the Tide, which is a little bit of a different thing, right? So this is this more of a documentary kind of travel type film?
Yeah, it's a documentary, straight and forward. It's I've been doing a lot of more documentaries over the last 5-6 years. I think I've got 5 in the can. I got 3 booked for next year already. And I'm either on camera and narrating it, or I'm just narrating it. But this one, I'm on camera narrating. It's John Lennox is an apologist. He's a retired math professor from Oxford, England. The guy's got 5 doctorates. He's like 6 languages. We spent 3 weeks shooting in Oxford, England, outside the university there, and then we shot 2 weeks in Israel. And it's an amazing documentary, and it deals. He's debated all the great atheists of the world, like Singer and Dawkins and Hitchens, and these debates are amazing. I mean, he kills them with kindness. He kills them with humor. He's got this Winnie the Pooh kind of voice, and he just blows people away with his kindness and intelligence. And I found it just fascinating. It's about proving God in a world of science. And for people that are people of faith, like I am, if you're looking for ways to defend your faith against all attacks Christianity gets, which blows my mind. I don't get why Christians get attacked all the time. But there's other religions are peaceful, apparently. This is a way to defend your faith. I would take bullet points down, write these things down when you see the documentary. It's going to be November 19th, 20th, and 23rd, which is unusual for Fathom events because usually you just get 1 date, but we got 3 dates. They need to go to againstthetide.movie, againstthetide.movie. Look at the link, look at the trailer, put in your zip code. It'll show at theaters near you because we got 700 screens across the country. I think people will love this. It's pretty.
Now, this is under your production company, correct?
That one's not under my production company, no. But it's okay. I'm part of it, and it came about from a movie I did called God's Not Dead, which you mentioned earlier. Mm-hmm. And in that debate scene, I play the atheist college professor, which I always say is redundant. I should just say college professor. But anyway, it's true. I'm tormenting the student in my class who won't say God's dead. So we do a series of debates, and he brings up John Lennox's names and quotes from John Lennox. So that's kind of how they reached out to me to be in this part with John. So he's a pretty amazing guy. People go Google him for people out there. Look at John Lennox. He's a pretty cool guy.
I'm excited for that. And that scene in particular, of course, in the movie, one of the things I appreciated about it so much was it wasn't like one of those. It wasn't a pandering scene. You know, your character wasn't putting forth like arguments that sounded so easily discredited. You know what I mean? Like it's, I feel like sometimes it's put out in such a way where it's like, yeah, but they didn't really, these don't sound like talking points maybe an atheist would really say, but yours did. And the way they were addressed was so good. And I love what you said about Dr. John Lennox, you know, about killing him with kindness. You know, I'm a big fan of the late Ravi Zacharias, and there was that you know, combination of so smart and would walk through logically, but with so much love and with so much kindness, and that combination is such a powerful thing.
Well, I'll tell you, when I was in Oxford, I got to go meet with Ravi Zacharias and sit in one of his speeches. It was really incredible. I got my photo with him, and you know, may he rest in peace. We've lost a great man in this world, but at least I got the chance to meet him. And it's funny how you mentioned that it's almost like a travelogue as well, because it is a great showcase of Oxford, England, and Israel. So I think those are 2 places people should visit sometime in their lives, because there's Kodak moments everywhere you turn. It was pretty amazing, and I was pretty blessed to be part of it.
When you look at your faith and the way that you play yourself in these movies, do the documentaries, what is it? In fact, you know, I don't know if I've ever actually heard your story about how you came to Christ. Would you be willing to share that with us?
Yeah, you know, I grew up in Minnesota. Sorbo is a Norwegian name. Typical Norwegians were Lutheran, so I went to a Lutheran, St. John's Lutheran Church. Wednesdays was our teen night, 13 through high school to 18 years of age, and then Sundays, of course, you go to church. So it was always there for me. But there was my parents were very, very Christian. My father passed away 8 years ago already. I miss him every day. He was the best. He was the best man at my wedding. He was my golf buddy, you know. So my mom's 88 years old now, but we did a trip to see the Reverend Billy Graham speak when I was 13 years old. And we went to the St. Paul Fairgrounds. So we're outside. It was a hot August night. The full moon was out. It was like just 88 degrees with 80% humidity. And 250,000 people are there. It was amazing. And I was moved to go up and speak with one of his many volunteers. You know, at the end of when he speaks, you come on up if you want to pray, you want to talk, whatever. And I don't know, that's something at 13 years old I normally wouldn't have done. But I felt the need to go. So I went up there, sat on the ground, talking to the guy that was there, and all of a sudden a hand went on my head, and I turned around, and it was the Reverend Billy Graham. And his head was perfectly covering the moon. So you just saw this light, you know? And I get goosebumps every time I say it because it was such a cool thing. You don't forget something like that.
Yeah.
And so I told that story, Chicken Soup for the Soul. I did a book for kids, for Chicken Soup for the Soul, 101 stories for kids. And they came back to me, the Billy Graham people, and said, look, we're doing a Billy Graham Chicken Soup for the Soul. And it's the only time they've ever done a hardcover book because they've always only done paperback. And we would love your story in there. So I wrote my story. It's in the book, one of the 101 stories. Well, the Reverend Graham saw it when he was, when he was 95 or whatever. And their people called me and said that Reverend Graham he laughed, he loved your story. He would love you to be the guy that goes around the country promoting the book. And I said, wow. Heck yeah. I mean, wow. It was like an honor to be able to do that. I mean, other than that meeting, I never got to meet him again, but I am acquaintances with his son, Franklin Graham. In fact, we were in DC a month ago. I spoke at an event called The Return. We have 100,000 people, millions of people watching around the world, where I got to speak. And I also got to go up there with my wife, and we did a prayer for everyone. And I had dinner one night there with Reverend Graham and Dr. Ben Carson. And that was really, really cool for me. I mean, I met Dr. Ben a couple of times. He's become a friend, he and his wife. I don't know if you heard, he has got COVID, but he's going to be fine. But please send prayers anyway. There's all power in prayer. But that was a pretty cool night. And one thing Reverend Franklin Graham invited me to, and I was shooting a movie last year. I couldn't go, but he invited me to join him to go to the North Korean, South Korean border to pray at the border. Wow. And I wasn't able to go, and it was just a killer not to be able to do that. But maybe next time.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
That's what Kim needs, is to fight Hercules or a captain.
Bring Superman with you. Yeah.
He is Superman, technically, for one day.
For one day.
Well, man, thank you so much. We really respect not only the work you've done. We're just fans of that, but also the way that so often the faith comes through in that. And I think that's just really cool, and really appreciate what you've done. If you ever do another Walking Tall movie and you need some extras, we're here.
I had a blast doing that, man. There's another. We did two of them. We did Walking Tall, Walking Tall, Lone Justice. I mean, they're intense. It's probably a slight R rating with the violence in it and stuff. But at the time, MGM and Sony were studios that were together, but they were going through their own divorce, so to speak, and they were fighting over titles because we were already in the paperwork to make it a TV series. This is the frustrating thing that happens in Hollywood that people don't know about. And because they couldn't decide on certain titles, no one could have it. And mine, unfortunately, Walking Tall was one of those, which really kind of was a drag. But before you run away, they can get a hold of me through kevinsorbo.net. I got a lot of stuff on there. There's a lot of ways to talk to me. There's a lot of ways. There's a whole, if you want to get, I got to show you, because I got a book that came out
I love this.
a while back dealing with my own personal fight on Hercules. A lot of people don't realize I suffered 3 strokes at the end of season 5 in Hercules. I wrote this book, True Strength. My wife and I just followed up with a new book called True Faith. So they can go online. It's Christmas. Come on, guys, get autographed copies of that. And but kevinsorbo.net is a great place to go. You can follow me on Twitter at ksorbs. They can follow me on Facebook at the official Facebook page of Kevin Sorbo, or go to Parler, where everyone's going now. I heard Twitter's lost 20% of their people.
They have.
So, so I'm on Parler now at ksorbs, and I'm also at a new one called Clout Hub. So you're looking for clout, you got a hub. Go to Cloud Hub and check that out, because these are guys that are coming out. They're saying they're not going to be censoring people, not if you have a different political point of view. We need more and more of that. And we got so much hate and anger in the world right now. We got to find a place where, hey, let's agree to disagree, but let's have a decent discussion about it, and not want to kill each other because of it.
Well, man, we so appreciate that, and we're looking forward to Against the Tide, Faith Under Fire. And as Kevin mentioned, if you want to find him online, it sounds like he's everywhere, so you shouldn't have a problem connecting.
I'd be remiss if I don't say leadersforlifefilm.com. That's my latest Wife's One documentary, leadersforlifefilm.com. Please check that out as well. And I have the #1 Christian movie streaming on Amazon right now. It's a documentary called Before the Wrath. Check out beforethewrath.com. It's on the Book of Revelation.
I'm watching it today.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Great. Thanks, guys.
Hey, thank you so much, Kevin. Appreciate it.
We'll talk when my movie comes out, Let There Be Miracle in East Texas. We'll talk next spring.
I want to see that one. I'm really excited about that.
It's a good movie.
We've got Lou Gossett Jr.'s in it, and so is Tyler Mane. People know him from the WWF, or he's Sabretooth on X-Men. And John Ratzenberger. Awesome John. So it was cool.
Yeah, our postman.
That's right. See you guys. Thanks.
All right. Thank you.
Have a good one. Have a good weekend. Rest of it.
All right.
Hey,
You too, man.
Kevin, thank you very much, man.
My pleasure.
Bye-bye.